I was so afraid I might say something. I didn't tell them anything. Not about you. Nothing. I was strong.
I know you were.
I told myself, if I don't survive, I'll never see him again.
What you must commit yourself to, if you want to succeed. Simple. Fuck.
The movie opens in Paris, where a legendary hitman called the Paris Killer sets up in an office facing a hotel to watch his next mark. He lives by strict rules, never slips up, and keeps his record spotless. After 5 quiet days with nothing happening, he tells his handler he wants out, but she pushes him to wait a bit longer. Reluctantly, he stays. That night, a courier randomly drops off an envelope, spooking him for a 10 time. Later, he wakes to see his target finally arrive, and he gets into position, calculating every angle and wind shift for a perfect shot. But when he fires, boom! He misses and hits the woman beside the target. Instead, realizing everything just went off the rails, he wipes the place clean and bolts straight to the airport, leaving total chaos behind. Rushing out of the office, he wiped every trace, linking him to the scene, and left Paris, calling his handler to report the failure. She warned him there'd be fallout, but he stayed ice cold, insisting he'd handle. Then he spotted a shady figure nearby and instantly sensed danger, thinking it might be a hired gun sent for him. He checked into a cheap hotel near the airport, rigged a glass and plate alarm on the door, and waited in silence with a knife clenched in his hand. By midnight, he realized, false alarm? The stranger was just a random traveler. The next morning, he flew to his safe house in the Dominican Republic, but the moment he arrived, he saw cigarette butts and strange footprints. Someone had beaten him there. He slipped inside, armed and silent, finding the place wrecked, blood on the walls, and a sinking feeling in his gut. Then came the call that froze him. His girlfriend was in the hospital. Racing over, he met Marcus, who explained 2 intruders had come for him, found her instead, and tortured her for answers she refused to give. She even fought back, stabbing one in the leg and forcing them to run. After speaking with her, he paid the doctors well to ensure top care, then returned home, dug up a hidden chest full of fake IDs, cash, and weapons. And with her suffering burned into his mind, his need for revenge lit up like fire. His first lead was a green taxi, so he followed that thread straight to a company that ran nothing but green cabs. Moving with cold patience, he tracked down the driver, Leo Rodriguez, sneaking into the admin building. At night, he dug through files until he had Leo's name and description, then shadowed him quietly until the perfect moment. He slipped into Leo's cab unseen, and when Leo sat down, he felt cold steel on his temple, freezing him in place. Terrified, Leo spilled everything about the man and woman he'd driven from the airport, the whole time realizing this wasn't some random guy. This was a hunter who didn't miss. The killer. Made him follow every order, got what he needed, then took him out cleanly and disappeared into the night. His next stop? New Orleans, where he rented a white truck and headed straight to a hidden safe house. Inside the safe house, he opened a secured storage unit packed with fake plates, guns, and ammo. Everything neatly ready for this moment. He prepped with icy focus, then at dawn hit a hardware store for a nail, gun, a trash can, and a few tools. With his gear set, he headed to Dolores's building, where the weak security a single camera made slipping in ridiculously easy. Dressed as a doorman, he waited for the courier, and the second the guy walked in, he slid through the door behind him unnoticed. Once inside, he stayed calm and ready. Then he pulled his gun on the secretary, his cold stare shutting down any thought of resistance. After the courier left, he moved fast into Lawyer Hodge's office, his handler, and had Hodge and the assistant restrained. He smashed every device in the room, erasing all their data. Then he faced Hodge, demanding client names, but the handler pushed back, warning that his mistake was unforgivable and the fallout unavoidable. No one would absolve him, he said. Confession was the only redemption he'd ever get in a world that wouldn't forget. Without hesitating, he lifted the nail gun and fired straight into Hodge's chest, his voice cold as ice as he demanded a name. But Hodge died before saying anything.
Where it began. I need that information.
Dolores saw there was no way out and quietly begged for a quick, clean death, hoping at least her life insurance would help her kids. The killer agreed not out of kindness, but because she knew the client behind his girlfriend's suffering, and her death was simply part of the path. He and Dolores slipped out into the night toward her house, continuing his plan. After dumping Hodge's body, he returned to find Dolores struggling to escape, but with her hands bound, she had no Recognizing she was finished, she finally gave up the vital info. The client was in Chicago. Once he had that answer, he ended her quickly, twisting her neck and sending her down the stairs to make it look like an accident. Clean, precise, no loose ends. The killer erased every trace, disposing of Hodge's body until nothing was left. Then he headed to Florida to hunt his first target, a man called Brute. After scouting the house, he noted every detail. Brute had visitors and a nasty guard dog to handle. He hit a grocery store for ground beef and sleeping pills, then returned to set his plan in motion. That night, Brute went gambling with a crew of thieves, and after a few hours, he headed home alone, the perfect opening. Moving with cold precision, the killer tossed the dog, drugged beef, and the beast was out within minutes. With the threat gone, he slipped inside silently, knowing Brute was in the bathroom. The hunt was almost over. The moment he stepped inside, Brute attacked, thinking he was some thief, and a vicious brawl exploded. As he slipped out, the dog woke up, fierce and furious, forcing him to dodge it by inches. He hurled a Molotov through the window, letting the fire erase every trace before moving on. Next stop, New York. He grabbed a basic ticket, washed off the blood in a cold shower, and prepped for the next phase. He rented a plain car and headed for the specialist, the woman involved in the attack on his girlfriend. He had fake papers, but no idea what she looked like. So he waited until a blonde woman stepped out and tailed her carefully. At a red light, he almost struck, hand hovering over his weapon, but something made him hold back. Instead, he followed her to a restaurant and confronted her face to face. She froze the moment she recognized him, the relentless killer coming to settle the debt she helped create, even as she tried to play it cool and hunt for an excuse. She claimed she'd only followed orders, that she had no choice, but he didn't buy a word of it. Mercy wasn't in his nature. He played along anyway, taking her up on her offer for a drink, then casually suggesting a walk. That's when she felt it, a cold certainty that her time was almost up. Every breath suddenly mattered. She hoped he'd at least choose a beautiful place for her death, some scrap of dignity in the end. Desperate, she even tried one last trick to trap him, but he was quicker. One shot and she was gone. From her death, he learned the name behind everything, Mr. Claiborne, a billionaire in a fortified Chicago estate. He headed there fast, tracking Claiborne's movements and slipping into the underground garage where an electronic lock blocked his way. Just another hurdle. He got a duplicate keycard, a gym membership where Claiborne worked out and blended right into the man's daily routine. He also bought a brand new untraceable gun after moving money to a separate account. By morning, the package arrived, and he put the plan in motion, breaking into a guard's locker and swiping the card to guarantee easy access. While everyone else focused on their workouts, he slipped out unseen and headed back to Claiborne's estate for the next phase. When he finally confronted the billionaire, the truth hit unexpectedly. Claiborne claimed he wasn't directly involved. He'd just been hired to take out a rival businessman and didn't realize the chaos it would spark. After the failed hit, the lawyer demanded extra payment to cover the mess. And as the killer listened, he realized this man wasn't the mastermind he'd been chasing. The killer realized Claiborne's words were genuine. This wealthy guy was just collateral damage in a bigger game. The true culprit behind his girlfriend's suffering was still lurking. His vengeance wasn't finished, so he decides to let the billionaire walk. But watch out. The killer gives Claiborne a final chilling warning. Try to track him down or seek revenge, and the next time, there will be zero mercy. With that, he simply vanishes from Chicago, going back to his safe house to scrub every trace of the mission. The closing scene is actually beautiful. His girlfriend gets out of the hospital, and they escape to a peaceful, serene beach, finally finding calm after all the chaos. As the sun sets over the waves, the story ends. Thanks for watching. If you're not already, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss our next video. See you next time.